Obviously, there's going to be the impeachment trial, also a lot of cabinet nominations as well. You've voted to confirm a handful of the new president's cabinet selections. You've also voted against others. You've expressed some concerns about the nominee for HHS secretary. Obviously, that's an important role in the midst of this pandemic. What do you want to see happen here? And will your vote in a Democratic-controlled Senate merely serve as a formality here to voice some of your concerns?
So ironically, I just got off the phone before I came here talking to Javier Becerra. And on paper, it looks like somebody that would be just pushing the Democratic approach of spending more money to solve problems. I was enlightened in that he did take on the Sutter Hospital Group. And the Pacific Employers Health Association teamed up with the California government to go after something I've been doing for 12 years prior to becoming a senator. Get the healthcare industry to be accountable, lower costs, embrace transparency, get rid of the barriers to entry, fix yourself before you have a cascade of more government interceding. And I learned something from that conversation. He also brings a record that's been very partisan in nature, but I at least gleaned something new. And he's like every nominee out there, they're going to generally, with the way the Senate is construed currently, make it across the finish line. I'm going to work to try to weigh in on reforming healthcare, climate, especially budget. And now the chairman of the Budget Committee is Bernie Sanders. I'm on it. That'll be an interesting conversation.
How do you plan to vote on Becerra's confirmation? Have you decided yet?
At this point, I'll probably not vote to approve him. It comes through a committee. I think the vote actually comes out of finance. But I had a conversation.
Right.
I'm talking to every one of them. And the fact is, almost every one of them is going to be there. I want to have a working relationship. And I said that in the conversation, as long as they're going to focus on reforming the healthcare system, not throwing more government dollars at it, which is what was embodied in the Affordable Care Act, which obviously did not end up being that.
What about the nominee for transportation, Pete Buttigieg, a Hoosier? How do you plan to vote when his confirmation comes up in front of the full Senate next week?
Talked to Pete over 30 minutes yesterday, and my intention is to vote for Pete, and I'm going to do that for anyone that brings in a willingness to listen to infrastructure, which is another. I was on the EPW committee. I'm not sure I'll be on that in this Congress, but I probably, as much as any senator here, have recently come off of infrastructure legislation like we did in Indiana, and look at what it's doing for us. And as long as there's going to involve some skin in the game for whoever gets money from the federal government, and to where you try to do things in a smarter way to get better value out of what we spend money on here. And I think Pete, especially being a Hoosier, somebody I'm going to have to work with, my intention is to vote for him.
Bottom line, can Democrats, can Republicans work together after everything that has taken place here? How do you see these next couple of years playing out?
I'm definitely one of the most fiscally conservative senators here. Vote against stuff that I really like if it does not bring into play what everybody generally dismisses here. How do you pay for it? Dan, we borrow 23% of what we spend in the federal government. If they're willing to do pay-fors, offsets, and actually do something that makes sense when you talk about spending on infrastructure, when you try to fix healthcare, address climate. I built a business over 37 years before I had to leave it by getting along with people, customers, employees, even competitors. And I'll use those same principles to move forward in what appears to be a very contentious setting. That's not the approach I'm going to take.
A lot happening there in the nation's capital, no doubt. Senator Mike Braun, thanks for spending some time with us. We appreciate it.